hearing so many people.
I'm so sorry.
So yeah, maybe Mr. Martin, to begin with, what was discussed, what was the highlight, and what did you propose, especially regards to?
The council asked my views on economic issues, because I'm an economist on the Third World Network. And we had a lively discussion for maybe about half an hour. One of the issues was on trade, because Malaysia is a very important trading country. So we want to ensure that we can continue to trade well with our partners, whoever they are. And we are in the process of reviewing some of the trade agreements that we have signed, and of course we are now negotiating new trade agreements like RCEP. We have already signed the TPP, and they wanted some views that I may have. And I said that, agreements are very good if everybody benefits from it. So we need to see what are the benefits and what are the costs. In anything, you will gain something and you will maybe lose something. So we went through some of that. I mean, for example, we know one of the problems in trade is that we would like to increase our exports. If we can sell more palm oil or textiles or electronics, that will be good for us. On the other hand, we also have to reduce our tariffs, and then the cheaper imports may also affect some of our producers. We are, like myself, I'm more concerned about the farmers in relation to rice or vegetables and so on, that they can continue to produce rice because of our food security. And these are some of the poorest people, so that they need to be able to continue their livelihoods. We don't want cheap imports to come and then overwhelm them. Or the small and medium-sized enterprises. We don't want suddenly to find that the cheap imports have meant that they can no longer produce or they can no longer sell and so on. So we have to measure the good things versus the bad things. And there are other aspects to a trade agreement beyond trade. For example, we have intellectual property rights. Here the concern is the price of medicines. We don't want to have a longer term for monopoly. If we have to sign these agreements, then we may be deprived of having generic products which are much cheaper, so that if somebody in your family has a problem, you want to be able to afford to treat the person. And some of these trade agreements may make the medicines much more expensive. So this is one concern that we have. There's also an investment chapter in for example, the TPP or the RCEP, that says that if there is a dispute with the investor, the foreign investor can bring you to an international tribunal or an international court to sue the government if, for example, the government changes policy. And then the change in policy means that the investor no longer has the same profit or revenue for the next 10 years. He can sue the government for millions of ringgit or even billions of ringgit. So we have to be very careful what these agreements say about this investor-state dispute system, which is now recognized by many countries as a major problem. Even the United States now is worried about this system, and that is one of the reasons they pull out of the TPP. So this issue has to be considered. And then finally, the government-linked companies, GLCs, may be badly affected by some of these agreements if the terms are not very favorable and clear, because now you have the government and the government-linked companies. They tend to give preferences to local companies, so that we can generate income in our own local economy, and we can also give some revenue to our own local producers. You hold a seminar, then you hold it in a local hotel. The government has a bank. The bank should be local so that they can earn money from the government. The government has a project, whether to build a school or whether to build a highway. You want to maximize the benefit to the local producer, so you want the contractor to be local. This may be affected by trade agreements because the trade agreement says that you should not give preference to local people. So we have to fight that, no, this is not correct, because at least for many of our government projects and expenditure, they should be allowed to give preference to local people. Otherwise, we won't generate the income for the economy. So all these things have to be negotiated very well so that we get a good result.